Hello, and welcome back to the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. This is Penny Sansevieri.
And Amy Cornell.
And we are so excited to be back presenting this show, which was actually Amy's idea, about Goodreads cracking down on authors or author program. I know Amy's our Goodreads expert. We are going to do another show just about some Amazon problems. I feel like, Amy, sometimes I feel like Amazon is one order away from completely collapsing on itself.
I know. It's so much going on. Yep.
There's so much going on. And I think you were the one that brought this to my attention, that more authors are really reporting having challenges getting accepted to the Goodreads author program. I mean, that just seems so bizarre.
I know. It really makes me sad. But first, I figured it's worth mentioning what the Goodreads author program is in case anyone listening isn't familiar with it yet. I'll keep it short, but basically it's a way to distinguish yourself as an author on the site, because then you actually get access to special features that are only available to authors, everybody using the site. So readers know you're an author. You get to run giveaways for your book. So there's a great reason to be in the program if you are in fact an author versus simply using Goodreads like an everyday reader would. So it's definitely something that most authors should do. And what really bums me out about this, Penny, is that I always, for the longest time, kind of put Goodreads on the same playing field as like having an Author Central account on Amazon. It's a free way to kind of add to your online branding, your online like claiming more online real estate, and it gets your name out there more. But unfortunately, Goodreads very recently has been making it a lot tougher to get approved for the program. So you actually have to apply to the program. And the catch-22 there is that while I'm really frustrated about it, they really are, I feel very strongly that they're trying to protect the integrity of the program and make sure that they are making it only available to authors that are very serious, that are doing good things, that are taking their role as an author seriously on the platform. But yeah, it's really bumming me out, and it's frustrating for some authors.
Well, let me ask you a question, and I'm actually going to ask, this is going to be a little bit of a twofold question.
Sure.
The first is that, obviously there's a dramatic increase in books. AI is a problem. Jane Friedman's latest newsletter, and latest by date of when we recorded the show, her hot sheet newsletter, if you don't get it, send us an email and we'll give you all the scoop on how to get it, because it's great. I know that AI is a huge problem with getting, with the inundation of books and authors publishing under false names. And, do you remember the bird book that I was in, apparently? Like,
yes,
it's weird.
Penny secretly started branching out and started writing about birds. She didn't tell me.
Like, it's the craziest. Like, it's just the craziest thing. But do you feel like? Is that the pushback, or do you feel like it is that authors? Have some authors abused the system, which I guess is kind of, I'm saying sort of the same thing in a different way. Why?
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. I think they're definitely trying to protect the program in the sense that they don't want these kind of spammy bot accounts trying to essentially claim the identity of actual authors. It gets really tricky, especially when you have a name that potentially is similar to another author. If there's only a difference and this is another reason we always, we've done a show on this, make sure you're consistent with your published author name, because a lot of times on Goodreads, our clients will get on their Penny and they'll go to apply, and Goodreads will say, are these all your books? And Goodreads is trying to attribute books that aren't even theirs to their names, simply because there's only so many names in the world, right? So
Right.
if you're Pamela Smith and you're publishing books and there's other authors named Pamela Smith, Goodreads only knows much in terms of who to attribute those books to. So I think they really are trying to be careful about making sure that the right person is claiming that author's identity and representing their work and things like that. And then to your point as well, I think they're also trying to make it a little bit more challenging for authors. They want them to really want to be in the program. And, again, to your point, not abuse the system, not use it for nefarious reasons. And I think they feel like they actually have authors go through kind of a multi-step process to be in the program. They have a better chance of getting authors in there that are going to follow the rules and not go after, reviewers that may not have liked their books, things like that. I think they're just trying to keep it a tighter knit group of authors that they know they've really vetted and that are there for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And then go ahead, sorry.
No, but I know, but to your point, you called out both sides of the coin there. It is becoming a little more challenging, and it is for a number of reasons. And I do try to remind our clients of that when they're getting frustrated. It's like, I promise, I know this is frustrating. It's one more email to send, but it is for the right reasons. And, you wouldn't want somebody else claiming your books or misrepresenting you online anywhere. And so it's kind of the, we say it with Amazon and all the one-time passcodes and things like that too. It's frustrating in the moment, but it is all for the right reasons,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a little, I think getting that kind of pushback from Goodreads is pretty unfamiliar to us. And I think to authors who are trying to claim their author profile there, which is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say too, that the challenging part is, and I will say the biggest hurdle that I'm seeing, at least with our clients, and seems to be the biggest sticking point, that prevents authors from getting accepted the first time, is that Goodreads says that you either have to be a KDP author, and their Goodreads is owned by Amazon. So they verify this based on the email you use. So they have a way to confirm that, okay, that is a KDP email associated with these books. Like, it's a thing. Or you have to have an author website that shows your official author email as part of the contact information. So Penny, we've actually had oh yeah. So we've actually had a couple clients recently that had to go and it's kind of one or the other. They either had to update the email address that they use for their Goodreads account to match what's on their website, or some of them have actually, and it's not a terrible idea, but we have some clients, Penny, that didn't actually have their info on their website. It was just a simple form to fill out, and you kind of don't know where that goes. And so Goodreads says you should have your author email displayed on your website somewhere, like we have on our website, we have the info at email on there in addition to our contact form. And Goodreads is really pushing for that kind of transparency. But, that's kind of crazy. Like, right, you either have to be a KDP author or you have to have a pretty well fleshed out website with a fleshed out contact page that matches the parameters that you're using on Goodreads to claim that account. And, if anybody's head is spinning just listening to me talk about this, like, you're not alone. Some of our clients have gone, what now? So what do I have to do?
Yeah.
And rightly so.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem, and I think that, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, this is no big deal. But the problem that really occurred to me as you were explaining this is that if you're just starting out, you may not meet this criteria, kind of like what you said, where authors are left scrambling. And if you published, if you're not KDP, you publish through a hybrid publisher, or in many cases, I've talked to authors who use Facebook as their website. Like, I'm asked, what's their website? I'm like, well, Facebook is my website. I'm like, well, we'll have that discussion another time. That Facebook is not really a website. But is there any kind of a workaround for this?
It's kind of yes and no. And similar to Amazon, I know we've mentioned this many times, where if you're troubleshooting anything on Amazon, it can really make such a big difference who you get for your support person, when you file a ticket, or who you get on chat, or who you get on the phone with. Some of them are very helpful. Others, if you want to pull your hair out. And it's kind of the same thing with Goodreads. There is some inconsistencies in terms of who gets approved and who doesn't. And it's not, don't take it personally if you don't. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. It really is kind of a crapshoot to some degree. I have noticed that if you didn't publish via KDP and you don't have a website yet, I encourage our clients to start out by using your Amazon Author Central URL as your website. When you submit your application for the author program, because again, let's play nice. Goodreads is owned by Amazon. You also have to get approved by Amazon for your Author Central account. So there is a vetting system, included in getting an Author Central page as well. And Goodreads knows that. So we have had some luck by just simply using your Author Central URL because, again, you've already been vetted by Amazon. They've approved you to run that Author Central account and be represented there. And so some of our clients have had luck doing that as a replacement for their website. I will say sometimes they still get the, we can't accept your application form letter yet. And in those cases, I always encourage the client, a lot of times I'll give them language to use, like here, reply to that email and send them this. And to the point of sometimes it really just matters who you get reviewing that email, who you get reviewing the submission. And so it really, sometimes it becomes a little negotiation, like, okay, here's my situation. I'm a real person. Here's my other stuff. Another client, we use their LinkedIn account for because he's got a great presence on LinkedIn. No, that's not one of the official parameters that Goodreads says they will use to verify your identity. But again, it's kind of that supporting evidence. Once you get a real person reading those emails and assessing whether or not they can approve you, there are ways to get into the author program that are outside of what they make public as the must-haves and the must-dos. But it really, I just want to encourage everybody to, take a deep breath, and it may take 2 or 3 emails, but it really is. I mean, I really do really love the Goodreads concept and what it can provide to authors and the direct access to readers. And we know there's a lot of mixed feelings about social media. Penny teaches classes on it. Goodreads is very much different in the sense that at least that you are getting in front of diehard readers. And that's what I really like about it, that it's still very much a reader, book, author-centric kind of hub for people to share book recommendations, find new authors, things like that. So it's still a really valid platform to be a part of. But hopefully, through these shows, we're kind of getting authors prepped for what they have to go through to kind of get in the door. And once you're in the door, it's awesome. But, I'm just trying to set the expectations for, the potential hurdles you might have to jump over or hoops you might have to jump through in order to get to that point,
Yeah, but I do think that you're right. I mean, I think that the AI book creation has created a lot of problems and a lot of fake authors, fake book, you know what I mean? And because I talked to an author, I don't know, this is maybe 6 months ago, and I think I shared this with you as soon as I got off the phone with this person. And I knew just from talking to them that every single one of their books was AI generated because just different things that they said. And you can always tell, like when you talk to an author, or when I talk to an author on the phone in consultation, like their books are their baby, right? So you ask them about their book and you can just feel them lighting up over the phone. And the difference between that and an author who has really had no hand in creating their book and has just hopped on the chat GPT and said, write me a book about such and such, is a very disconnected difference. And you can absolutely tell. And also, I think this author had 80 books or something, and in a very short period of time. And I'm like, I've known some really prolific authors, but I'm pretty sure that this is not a you didn't write these books. And I'm willing,
they still sleep.
Then they still sleep. And you remember I told you, like, this person was unwilling to send their books to me, like, oh, I don't want you to read them. Well, because if I read them, then I would actually know that it was a robot that wrote your books, right? So
right, exactly.
It's an industry problem. It really, really is. Well, I appreciate you putting this show together, because this is really good and helpful information. And I want to mention, before we let you all go, that Amy and I have launched a really fun author mentorship program. And it's a way to unlock all of the greatness of your book. In some cases, well ahead of launch. We have three different programs, and the one, if you're 6 months out from publication, we have a whole list of coaching in there. We have like really kind of drilling down into making your book as competitive and as exceptional as you possibly can before the launch, to really help to give you a leg up. I mean, Amy, am I doing it justice?
Yeah. No, I think you've done a good job. And again, to everybody listening, this is very new. I mean, we know what it is, but it's like, it's like the shiny new, toy that we're like, we want to share with everybody. And I think another really important part of it, Penny, that we managed to, like, we kind of racked our brains. And what I think a lot of authors will get out of it too is that, and the reason we do this podcast, there are so many unknowns about being in this business. And a lot of times you don't know what you don't know, right? Until it's a problem. And then you're backtracking, or you're trying to figure out how to fix it after the fact. And so that's another thing that we tried to structure into this program, is kind of helping authors address the really critical pieces that they may not realize they have to touch on, and in what order, to make sure you're crossing all those T's and dotting all those I's, because it is a lot to track. And so that's something also that we wanted to make sure we were addressing with this as well, is kind of making sure authors could kind of like, take a sigh of relief that they're not forgetting to address something really critical that could affect them down the road,
Right. And I think when we asked folks, because we asked some folks what they wanted, what they wanted to see if we offered a mentorship program. And, it's interesting, what came up time and time again was how to price my book, and as well as, what category should my book be in? I mean, it's interesting, because if you're listening to this and you have a bunch of books out and you're thinking, wow, that's kind of easy. It's like, it's easy, I think, if you've done it for a while. But if you are like, maybe your first book didn't do as well and you think, the next time I want to do it better, or if you're a first time author, it can be problematic figuring out where your book belongs, what the right price is for the book. And then, also we talk about things like book covers and book descriptions is in this package. We also have one for after your book is released. So if your book is out already and you're like, I feel like the wheels are, starting to fall off of this. This is a really good package to put you on the right path, put you on a better path. And it does include coaching. So phone coaching with me. Although I got on the phone with somebody the other day and they were like, why am I not talking to Amy? I'm like, you can talk to Amy.
If you can find her.
If you can find her, you can talk to her. But it includes, Amazon book description, feedback, Amazon keywords, categories, improving your Amazon retail page, which we've done enough shows. Y'all know how important that is. Social media, blogging plan with custom images, brand recommendations. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I keep hearing about author brand, I don't really know where to start, that's also part of this package. And then a 30-minute coaching session with me. And I love to it's really fun when I talk to authors who listen to our podcast. A lot of times the first thing they say is, oh my gosh, I feel like I know you. It's so funny because, you're in their ear, cool. Right? Yeah, it's really cool. So we're excited. We haven't officially launched this package yet, but you can, if you want to be the first in, to get some really cool extra bonuses, and you can email us at info@amarketingexpert.com, because we're not going to be able to offer a ton of these. So it's going to be, because obviously they're really detailed and very time consuming for a reason, because this is really where, this is where authors need to spend a majority of their time, obviously, other than writing a book. And this is where a lot of times like I was saying earlier, kind of the wheels tend to fall off and they're like, I don't really know where to start. So shoot us over an email. We'll get you early access to this if you're interested in seeing what they entail before they launch. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Penny Sansevieri with my awesome, ever awesome co-host, Amy Cornell. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.